Perfect. Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening if you're here from Africa or other parts of the world. Welcome to our March Town Hall Gathering for King's Counsel and Trust Family Office. This is our monthly gathering where we come together to share some of our powerful initiatives that we're working with both here locally in North America, but globally. There's a lot that we're doing on a global scale. We're also our time to network, collaborate, and learn a little bit more about what we're up to. King's Counsel and Trust Family Office is connecting people for one purpose. And today's agenda, we're going to learn a little bit about our mission and vision, what we stand for, why we're all here, get some updates on what's happening with KCT. Also, you're going to meet some of our team and power partners and what the definition of power partners is. Also learn some of our current initiatives, as I mentioned earlier, how to get involved. There may be something here today that touches your heart that you want to learn more. And we want to make sure that we provide that environment to do that. And then we also do a breakout session for networking and collaborating. We kind of do that at the end because some people are, they might be shy or this is a new format, but we really believe we're here to create community and help connect people to one purpose. And then at the very end, we open it up for Q&A. Please, if there is any questions that you have, put them in the chat. If we run out of time, we want to make sure that all of your questions get answered. So please, as we're going along, if there's things that you want help with or support with, there's also the Q&A option. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A. You can actually go in there and type in a question specific that you might have as we go along. So with that, let's go ahead and let's take a look for a minute at our vision and mission. I'll go ahead and be quiet and let you read this for yourself. So the one thing that every time I read this, there's certain things that really stand out, but there's many reasons why I'm here. And I love the fact that we're spreading good news. I love the fact that we're coming together with a shared vision to make a difference. And so thank you for being here. Hopefully there's a place that you found that resonates with you with the mission and vision. Our managing director and founder of King's Counsel and Trust, Dale Hewett Collier, he has actually been tagged as a financial futurist. He's actually had the foresight to enact a new global system that helps people navigate this crisis that we're going through right now and reinventing private equity as a function of cash flow. I'm really excited about today's town hall in particular because I know he's going to be diving in deeper about this mission and vision and really what we're up to at King's Counsel and Trust. So with that, I don't know if you guys know sign language, but this is a round of applause. If we can give Dale a virtual round of applause, and I'll pass the ball to you, Dale.
Show of hands.
There you go.
Yeah, no. At a recent speaking gig, this jacket really stood out. I'm just a little having fun here. If anybody thinks this is a good-looking jacket, you would like to get one for yourself in the springtime coming up, be happy to share that information. My men seem to like it more than the women, so I'll just put that out there. You don't have to feel like you're left out like the last group I spoke to. Moving right along, one of the things we'll get into, we want to cover team, and each of those we're going to highlight a few now that you're present in your perspective area of what got you here, why you're still here. And I want to address today the notion of what's family office, but more to the point, what makes us a little bit different than perhaps you other family offices that people are just beginning, I think, to gain a little bit of understanding on. So we'll have some fun and some comparison and contrast there. But one of the longtime standing cats has been around is Thomas Richter. If you've ever done a word study on the fullness of your name, Thomas certainly has one. And I'll highlight a few others. But Thomas, real quick, would you mind just a minute or two of you, please, sir?
Well, I won't take up that much time, but hello, everybody. They'll just hit on something. If you haven't ever done a study on your word meaning, your name word meaning, I'd encourage you to do so. I grew up hating my middle name. And I told my parents on more than one occasion, why didn't you call me Anthony? Thomas Anthony sounds a whole lot better than Thomas Edward. Turns out I was named after my grandfather on my father's side. But I did a word study on my name at the recommendation of a pastor back in, must have been about the mid 80s. What I discovered is Thomas means twin, Edward means wealth guardian, Richter means magistrate or judge. As it turns out, what I do here at KCT is really the fulfillment of my name. I get to share with people what I believe to be the two primary marketplaces that exist. You have the kingdom of this world, you have the kingdom of God. So I take that as the twin portion of my name. Edward means wealth guardian. What I've discovered is that the true wealth of the kingdom is relationship. It's not money. And then of course, Richter being magistrate or judge is simply the discerning, right, essentially rightfully defining what kingdom am I advancing? Because every dollar I spend, I'm voting for one of those two kingdoms. So I get to live in the world, but not be of the world. And if you're a person of faith, you'll understand, what I mean by that particular statement. So it's a pleasure to be here to see you all. There's a few new faces I don't recognize, like Ed, and I haven't seen Kevin. No, Kevin, you're not. I don't actually see you. And then I'm going to butcher the name. Is it Danila DeSanto? I'm not even close.
It's Ganilla. It's just like it's spelled. It's like vanilla,
Okay.
but with a GU.
Okay. Yeah, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll pass the baton back to you, Dale.
Very cool. All right. Next up, Rui. All right. If you still have power, you're one of the new kids on the block, if you were, from across the pond, albeit a little south. And I noticed you got an elephant standing in your backyard. That's pretty neat. I did the Animal Kingdom way back in the day, and it was neat to have giraffes poke their head in the morning. But a little bit about you, sir, and you've got a really neat project you're coming on to next month. Everyone, if you've ever thought the notion of trading diamonds in terms of an alternative asset class was interesting, Rui just recently introduced a group over there. Can you imagine digital diamonds and what NFTs are going to do to alternative assets and in the precious metals and mining? This is coming next month, not today, but Rui, you're still here, and I so much appreciate your kind of sarcasm and sense of humor. Just a few minutes from you, sir.
He's humble too. And now that the secret is out, well, what more can I say? I came across Dale by the kindness of Shannon, in fact, year before last. And what intrigued me about KCT is how to do things differently and achieve a better quality result in what you're trying to achieve. And that's what's kept me here. And the second thing that I really enjoy about this team is your voice is heard. If you have a suggestion, a complaint, you need help, put your hand up or do what I do. I'm a bull in a china shop. Get hold of Dale directly and say, listen, but I would like to talk about the following. And he's a really good listener. But Thomas is a man of patience. He has to be to put up with me. Because we rip each other every time we speak to each other. And today was no exception. And Thomas, I cherish your friendship. And thank you both. Thank you, Shannon.
Rui, I appreciate that. I can't help but share this joke with you all. I see the picture in the background there, the elephant. So here's the joke for everybody. What do you get when you cross an elephant with a rhinoceros? LFI.
Oh, no,
Oh, come on, that's quality stuff.
you ought to can
Hey.
that corn.
Yeah,
It's
right.
kid appropriate.
Moving right along. Let's see, Larry, David. Yes, David, you're going to be speaking a little bit more about some of what we've been doing in the whole alternative space of the ICOVEST umbrella, but a little bit also that David doesn't know. The fact that he too has been around, seen a few things, and has found as a faith-based organization and ministry we support and hitting the streets in the marketplace. David, care to share just a minute or two in the diversity of your attractors and what's going on?
Well, yeah, I'd be happy to. Thanks. I met Dale a number of years ago. I met KCT 13 years ago, but Dale and I didn't get to become acquainted and become friends about 3 or 4 years ago. And so being enamored with KCT and the faith ministry that it strives for, I've become involved in some of the initiatives as well and am active part of the KCT family. So I'll be talking a little bit more, I don't know if it's now or later, about the ICOVEST movement and the ICOVEST Capital Group. So thanks, but tell me if I'm out of turn about the ICOVEST, now or later.
A little bit later. Thank you.
Glad to be here. Dale is my faith mentor. I'm growing in my faith daily as a result of my relationship with Dale. So I'm really happy to be here, part of it.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Oh, and for all those that have gently been criticizing us for more than a decade that there's no females that like to play with King's Counsel, we have news for you. Janet, please fill in the blank.
I've seen females in here. So Shannon, ProSice with the Business Acceleration Network. I met Dale, it's been almost 15 years ago. And for me, I didn't understand everything that he was saying. A lot of it just, there were new terms, new words, but my heart kept saying, okay, I don't understand this all, but whatever he's saying speaks to me and I need to pay attention and I need to listen. And it, over the years of getting to know him and really diving in the last few years, it's been an incredible journey of supporting people with events, supporting people with marketing, and doing what I love. Like I love building community, and I'm so excited that Dale and the team is doing these town hall gatherings so that we can help spread the message of what people like Jeff are doing and that to the world, but also being that vehicle for building community and making an impact. So if you're here for the first time and some of this stuff may be over your head, I trust me, if it speaks to your heart, follow that and you'll get it as we go along.
Thank you. And Shannon has a few closing remarks and invitations as well once we get to the end in light of what's been going on in the last 2 years and how to put your best face forward for this year and beyond. Mr. Larry has been a long mentor and big brother for me as well. And personally, some of the hard times I've gone through in a divorce and coming out of that and getting, as it were, back on my feet. Larry, a couple words from you, sir. Thanks,
Dale,
for your service.
Well, appreciate it. It's great to be involved, and I've loved the fact of what Dale and Thomas and others are bringing in King's Counsel in particular is the possibilities and the opportunities that exist in the marketplace with, I'll say, connected thinking. It's an ecosystem, or my wife coined the term "ecosystem," and to glean the wisdom, not just knowledge, but the wisdom, which includes the experience that everybody brings, is really enlightening and fun and reawakening. So it's a great pleasure to be a part. So thank you.
Those that don't know, he's the cash flow whisperer. that sink in a second. Most everybody, when it comes to capital, wants to still do business crony capitalism way, with the securities this and the banking that and all of the licenses and regulations. And I'm here to tell you I don't know, that's not going to last the way I see it. There's a great reset coming, and we'll get to that in just a second. But before we get down to the bottom of the hour where we typically go into breakouts, we just want to let you know again, because of the last quarter success, we've made a point of keeping the general town halls on the certain Tuesday of every month, so you can plan for the whole year. For our introduction to working cooperatively, that's on a Thursday. And another for our power partners, those that have opted in to somehow play in our shared expense, shared reward model. For many of you that are on, thank you for your contributions. I hope this year that very much like the little boy who put up fishes and loaves, that your seed would be multiplied 12-fold this year. Let that sink in a second. I don't know how you think you're participating today. I just want to let you know that little boy, he didn't do it for a 12x return that day. He just said, hey, this is what I have. And watch what happens when we let the Lord multiply that. But moving right along, our initiatives, as much as I keep saying we're really close on the ICO wallet, I can tell you that we are in the finalized terms and conditions of both mirroring a smartphone application, which is where it was born. We know that the next younger generation is going to drive it in their phones. For those of us that struggle with 2 fingers and thumbs, most of them nowadays can do it with just one. And so we started there, but we also knew that we couldn't leave out some of the older cats. And so we have a web-based, so we say, platform they're basically designed to talk to each other. And as much as I'd like to show you some telling as to what's coming, I can highlight that there's 2 things that make it stand out versus any other wallet, and or what's going to be in or on your wallet as the commercial goes. Number 1 is jurisdiction.
We've grown up in a world.
We have grown up. And in this case, jurisdiction from an ecclesiastical perspective. I don't know if you know this or not, but faith-based organizations by definition are, from the IRS's perspective, tax accepted. What tax accepted means, we recognize the sovereign authority. Dad's in charge. We're not going to go there. And if the church is exempt. If you look into their code, it looks like if you were going to create a corporate soul, it's section 508. You can do into the lower things as to which subsections that is. But it doesn't stop there. The second thing that makes this wallet stand out versus any other, shall we say, silver or gold-backed, precious metals-backed cryptocurrency is we're choosing to use the sovereign currency of a nation. That is to say, government-minted money. U.S., it is, we know, as gold and silver. There's certain states that have already passed it. And we just got approval this morning as to submitting a white paper to the state that is not just Florida specific, it is in this case, but we've written it to be jurisdictionally agnostic, meaning that any of you that have access to the leadership in your state, your country, anywhere in the world, we've got a rock solid case right now for adopting gold and silver as for lawful money if someone will listen. This is really important because for those of you that do the shopping, inflation is upon us, and there's no end in sight. It looks bad. Unfortunately, we've got an app for that. So at a very high level, Shannon, if I could, I'd like to share my screen. At a very high level, for those of you that don't know what's going on there, what I'd like to be able to do is give you a QR code to shoot. And if I could, let you take your phone out, pop this little puppy, and you're going to land on this page, it's kind of like a, as I ended. You all hear me?
Yeah, your screen's not coming up though, Dale.
Starting to. It says it's starting to.
Okay, give it a second. But now,
No, it stopped. If you want to try it one more time.
There we go.
Got it.
perfect. All right, we want to take advantage of the tech. So this QR code, scan this little doodad, come to a landing page. Let us know, you know, if you're already in the crypto space, what are some of your popular coins that you're using? We want to be obviously relevant to those folks that are already in the space. For those that aren't, don't worry what a BTC is or a ETH or any other thing. More on that another time. But please let us know what's going on. I want you all to be among the first to kind of get the word out, as it were. And this is why part of our cooperative plan is so important, because we've got one heck of a tell a friend program baked into this when the time comes. So name in an email and hold on tight for that. So I will stop sharing on that one. And I'm hoping, again, before I get into, just 1 second, Shannon, before the Capitol, I just wanted to pause there and let that sink in a second. Two things. Jurisdiction, number one. The IRS has recognized that for those that walk and talk in their faith, by us in the United States, that's our First Amendment. We have the right to assemble peaceably, privately contract, exercise our faith, our speech, without interference from our government. We have the Second Amendment to enforce that first one. They're all tied together, and more on the rest of the rights that will undoubtedly be important later on. So jurisdiction, number one. Number two, the IRS has made it very, very clear that it only stands to be a collection agency for the Federal Reserve, meaning that if we do business with one another in sovereign silver, I might add, sovereign silver and gold are the only, by their purity, their ISO fine standards, acceptable to people's retirement plans, self-directed plans, you see, IRAs, as we know them, self-directed IRAs. It's a really big deal, not just here in this country. We're helping some folks in Canada. In case you haven't seen what's going on, they're a little bit nervous. Nevertheless, the IRS has made it very, very clear that if we do business in silver, this has already been tested at the Supreme Court. Does anyone have any idea, besides David or Thomas, how much in the way of federal income tax is required to be withheld every paycheck? Anyone? Save some time. Nothing. If you wanted to pay your federal income tax in silver dollars, couldn't do it. Can only do it with Federal Reserve notes. And that's because it's when you use other people's money that there's a usage fee that comes with that. When it's Visa, MasterCard, it's an APR. With the Federal Reserve, it's a progressive income tax. This is a really big deal. Let that sink in, because once we get the wallet, we're going to just kind of, hopefully the learning curve is just going to ramp way up. And you're going to understand why so many small business owners and their employees are just going to love this. Why so many charitable organizations? Can you imagine every charitable organization have a similar coin for intention? If Disney can have their own dollars, good, anywhere on property for goods and services, why not other intentional organizations? This is not just for commerce. This is also well designed for the church. And that's one of the things by now, hopefully most of you know, that we're not here for such a commercial gain as to demonstrate what it is to walk out our faith in the marketplace. That's our ministry. Pick up where Jesus left off. It's not first name, last name, fill in the blank, something else with about a bunch of other alphabet soup after it. And so we get fun to do this, and we do well in the process. So that's the wallet update at the moment. And if I could, I'd like to move on to the next thing where David tell us a little bit about ICOVEST and why that's so important right now, and why that may impact someone you know in a rising interest rates environment in their primary residence. David, please, sir, take it away.
Okay. Before I explain a couple of things, I want to let you know this is the ICOVEST Capital website. We have a number of websites, but this one will give you an overview of what we're doing at the ICOVEST Capital Group. But I want to get in a little bit bigger picture for you and tell you about some rewards and royalties as well. The ICOVEST Capital Group operates in the world, our world, under the government's jurisdiction. So as a mortgage broker with ICOVEST Capital Group, I'm kind of got a foot in both camps. I'm under scrutiny by the government, but I'm also involved in the overall ICOVEST movement as well as KCT. So I earn gold and silver rewards and royalties as a result of it. The Capital Group focuses on a bunch of things, but primarily it's real estate, life insurance, and part of ICOVEST is one of the initiatives that is under KCT. Anybody in the ICOVEST movement, if they provide a lead of someone buying, selling, refinancing a home in either Florida, Georgia, or California at this point, our goal is to have all 50 states. But we have a tell-a-friend royalty of minimum of $100 up to $10,000 just for dropping a name. You have to be in the movement in order to benefit from that particular royalty. ICOVEST overall is a faith-based movement created to live in the world, but not subject to the government scrutiny. We are an ecclesia. We are a movement to help all of God's people, yet we are basically formally a Judeo-Christian ministry of faith, interdependent auxiliary trust, as Dale mentioned. We're under the IRS Title 26, Section 508C1A. We're tax accepted, which means we never owed any taxes to begin with. The government kind of bamboozled the majority of the churches into establishing themselves as a 501c3, which then places that church, called a state church under those terms, subject to the government, when they already had independent status outside of it. So if you would like to learn more about how you can earn royalties in silver and participate in all of our initiatives, just email me at david.dunworth, and I'll put it in the chat, at kingscounselandtrust.com. And I will invite you to what we call our collaborative procurement opportunity. We have a pretty straightforward process, and that's the beginning process to get a free look, what we do, how we do it, and just be mindful that you can't buy anything and we don't sell anything. So rest assured, if you want to learn more about it and take a deeper look at ICOVEST, just email me and we'll set up a meeting for you to take that look. Back to you, Dale.
Also, David, at the very end of this, we're going to do a poll. We want to know what you're interested in learning more, because we're just touching on key points. So just make sure that you check the ICOVEST Capital, and that's another way to double make sure that you get the information. Sorry, Dale, go ahead.
I wanted to respectfully, before we get into breakouts, I just learned that it doesn't look like we can have our breakout.
We are going to do a community breakout, so we get to know all of the new people today. It'll be a little different structure, but the good part is, Dale, that everybody will get to know each other here.
So I'm going to call an audible, and if you'll just kind of burn this into your retinas just a little bit. Trust in corporate services. What does that mean? Tax, wealth, family, charity, legacy. Okay. In the world, there's this notion of family offices. Can I have screen share back, please?
You can just take it anytime. You're the boss.
For some reason wasn't letting me do that. Nevertheless, one more time. See, you are good news, and we'll get there in just a minute because might be a nice wrapper to the whole thing. So, is this working here? See me yet?
Hasn't resolved quite yet.
How about now?
Not yet.
Okay. Scratch that. Wikipedia, look up the definition of family office, everyone. Say Wikipedia has a really nice definition of family office. If you've never heard one, maybe you've heard of Morgan Stanley. I used to work there, Merrill Lynch, and some, Ms. Barney and Fidelity and some other things. Many people have, retirement plans with a Vanguard and so on and so forth. A lot of those, I'll just say more retail names have everything to do with the middle class. Some a little bit less, Edward Jones and some others. But for the most, when very much like a business, when you can afford to bring specialized talent into your own, I'll just say family affairs, typically, there's usually like 95% of self-made millionaires have one thing in common. Does anyone know what that one thing is? Save time. They all have a business. It's called multiple streams of income. And I would contest why most employees struggle is because they only learn to get one. So what we're talking about doing here is helping to shift the paradigm, but at the same time do a little bit of teach. And what we'd like to do is bring all of the experience of what the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds have known for a very, very long time and bring that to Main Street. Make a lot of that available because you can't walk into your typical family office unless you're talking 7 figures or more liquid. Okay. So quick little screenshot of over in the right-hand portion of the Wikipedia definition is a little graphic. If you haven't ever clicked on that, it's a wonderful little picture about what's going on. It's you having access to family office. We, King's Counsel and Trust, are sitting right there, square in the middle of it. And if you'll notice it kind of branches off in this like spider web. Dale is basically, I'm a general practitioner. Many on this call are in fact specialists through our cooperative marketing program that we'll call on if someone might need what you have in your camp. For those that don't know, for example, Hugh's sitting right in the middle of my screen, so I'm going to call you out. This is a not-for-profit leadership / faith-based expert that really, for most charitable organizations, we're not a business. Excuse me, think again. Anyhow, more on Hugh a little bit later, but he's a specialist. I don't do what Hugh does. So as you'll hear from some of the others when we get around to do the mass intro, just kind of keep that in mind here. We're not here to be one and up on one another as much as we are like a King Arthur in the round table. And we've all got an equal seat when we get together and we do these kind of town halls. So moving right along from the definition of, as it were, I was going to show some more, but my screen is failing here. What's next? When we use the term strategic philanthropy, we've actually taken what family offices, if you saw that little diagram, charity and philanthropy, and we've busted that open into several different areas where 5 to be specific is because let's face it, not everybody has the same shall we say, desires when they get involved in an organization. And we've got assessments for that, but basically it comes down to your heart and your values. And for many that are already volunteering, already contributing, why they may be right for King's Counsel is because, candidly, they've been going through this rat race, thinking, oh, I never had the right time, or I don't have enough, or I might be making a difference, but I'm not seeing any lasting change. My giving is, seems to not line up with where I am in my life. And maybe it's just like some organizations, all they want is my money, but they don't want me. I'm semi-retired. I'm maybe after COVID, maybe I'm fully retired now, work from home, but aren't my talents valuable too? Where can I put those to work? So if any of that kind of resonates with those that you might know, they're kind of scratching but they're not yet fulfilled. I would like to introduce to you, they're going through the halftime of their life where everything that we've been taught is all about success. And candidly, that's great when you're just getting started. But why we're here on this earth is to be a service to others. It's not about us. And so most likely call it a midlife crisis, but it's a shift from success to significance, other people focused. And I'd like to introduce to you that there's this notion of what we call strategic philanthropy. And that is, say, some just recognize the power of collaboration. We know how important it is to cooperate, except that in America, our government doesn't like us cooperating. There's a lot of things that earlier in the last century, for example, that are on the books called antitrust laws, because they didn't like it when private business guys got together and cooperated. That wasn't good for government. The next thing is a lot like the first, except that it's more responsive. It's like an emergency care, as it were. Like Red Cross is always famous for coming out during the disasters or right about thereafter. Others is more about venture philanthropy, like venture capital. Well, it's not always about the money, as we've heard. In our case, sometimes we just want to, like as an architect, we want to build for long-term sustainable growth capacity and scale, where we could live, work, and play and worship, as it were, together. And can that community maintain itself in such a way? This is where I can bring a lot of my professional architecture and urban planning training to bear. Others are much more hands-on in terms of results-based philanthropy. It's a lot like cutting the grass. You get to smell it. You get to see the nice little lines and the grids on a baseball field when it's all said and done. They're very hands-on, very tactical, and like immediate response. I lay hands, you're healed. Things like that. And that's okay, but not everybody's like that. And some are just in it for the checkbook. Really, they've recognized that they're so valuable in right where they're at. They may not be 1 cent out, but they can support the senders. You see, because in ministry, there's only 2 kinds, really. Those that are sent out, in which case they need resources, and those that are sent. And for some of us, we can, as a fundraiser, use our talents in the marketplace a lot better than we can go to stop that and go sell chocolate bars only to do the same thing. This is just about getting smarter, guys. So coming back to part of what makes us different, in the end, one of the big ones is, we talked about it briefly, the money. Does anyone know on the line that you can absolutely live in this world and not have to, shall we say, pay any federal income tax, either personally or professionally? Does everyone know that? Because if you don't absolutely know that, that is one of the clear differentiators here, without making a single dollar more. Our average, I'll just say, tax strategy, philanthropy shifting person, once they discover the toll-free road, will avoid paying more than $200,000 in federal income tax. And now they get to start their charity or their donor advised fund or their family foundation, or in some cases, ministry, without doing a single thing different, except by working smarter. I would contend that anyone that claims to be an accredited investor is, well, I won't go there fully with what my grandmother would say, but they're just pride foolish. That's like saying, as a badge of honor, I pay more tax than you. If you could have all of that in a trust and not have to pay any tax on that, provided you couldn't have it in your name. You see, for most of us, everything's about vanity. We'd love to sign our name to things. And I'm going to suggest to you folks that in order to control everything and own nothing, you've got to let go of the name, even though that's the first word most of us learn how to spell. And then we wanted to put it on everything. So make no mistake, sometimes the greater challenges that we'll go through in getting to know one another and shifting and pivoting for and redeploying strategy is sometimes more of not so much a wallet share, but a heart and a head issue. And that's where it gets interesting. You know, relationships sticky. Families, they're not corporations. The same. We want to be thinking dynasty-like, multi-generational. If you're not quite there yet, it's okay. You know, most folks, as you've heard, been coming to King's Counsel, will be thinking locally. They're not thinking nationally, internationally just yet. But I assure you that God loves us all. And he's not just picking out one at a time, as it were. He's got a plan for all. And when our perspective shifts, you know, it's like, come up here, I got something to show you. When that happens, we'll find that a lot of what we're working on sometimes, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'd rather do what you're doing. Or mine was too small. I like big. It's really kind of hard to say. But with that, I'd just like to kind of pause there if I could, because there's a lot to where that applies, how that applies. We do it with one another. We're going to explore how some of that works in terms of our partner agreement. That's another meeting, another time. For those that are working with us with projects, we've got very specific ways with which to attract and gain capital. And this challenge nowadays is how to put butts in chairs, where travel and tourism and meeting spaces are still very restrictive in certain cases. And I might add, when banks and governments and corporations start working together as to who and cannot play, come on, are we going to continue to insist to do business as usual? I don't know that that's the best strategy. So we do things 90 days at a time because we want to be able to reserve the right to engage, but also pivot. Look, if it's not working, let's let it go, redeploy, shift. I will think right now, before Washington changes their mind, one of the biggest opportunities anyone that had corporate life before, that in the last 2 years has gone half-time, part-time, no time, shifted, is to please get your money out of that system. If you don't know that that's possible, there's a thing called the self-directed IRA. That industry, thank you IRS, can't advertise or talk about it. They don't want you to have control of your money, direction with your money, how much, how often, where in the world, and with what. They want you to prop up the whole Wall Street system. I'm going to suggest to you that we specialize in everything outside of that system. Even the ultra wealthy only have a small portion of their entire portfolio, their net worth, you've heard that, exposed to Wall Street. Why? Because they know it's subject to such, as it were, geopolitical, tax, market, and other types of influential risk factors that they cannot control. Let me put this another way. If your entire retirement plan is subject to the Wall Street way, I hope you can't sleep tonight. It disturbs you that much. Because I don't wish this on anyone, but the worst thing that can happen is that you need some type of provision, protection, risk mitigation, and you don't have it. The best thing that could happen is it never happens, but at least you're prepared if it does. Because in the end, we don't need to be the fastest guy out of the camp when the grizzly bear comes crashing through. We just need not be the slowest. So we know we can't save everybody. That's not our job. But we do want to equip every one of you, not with what I do, but what we all do together, because it's through that where we can multiply and we can gain disciples, as it were, with loving our neighbor. Let's start with where we're at. Who are we working with today? Can we be doing better? I'd like to think so. And with that, I welcome you to King's Counsel and Trust. And I'm almost glad we didn't have the breakout. So I got a little bit of extended time to kind of get into what we talk about in trust, in fiduciary, taking control of your financial futures for yourself. We can't do it for you. I'm no longer an investment advisor. But as co-investors, we can do it with you. As an investment advisor, if you were my brother, I couldn't do business with you as a client. Strange as that sounds, it's against the law. But anyhow, I'll stop there. Shannon, I see you've got a poll. Looks like it's ending. And
Yeah,
15 minutes to play.
For some reason, it's not showing any participants, so I'm trying to fix that. Otherwise, I'll do something quickly in the screen piece, because I'm assuming nobody sees that, right? It says 0 participants.
It says host and panelists can't vote. So if anybody joined as a panelist, as they were given the option to do when they came in, if they chose that, now they can't vote. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, but usually we're able to do something different. All right, so let me play with that for a minute.
Hey, Dale,
Real
Karen had her
Yes, sir.
hand raised. I don't know if you saw that or not.
And then I remembered etiquette, so I put a chat
Oh.
about the ESG system.
Yeah,
I'm assuming this will help avoid the ESG system, which is, coming. It's here.
I know we had questions. I wasn't ignoring you on purpose. We're trying to troubleshoot with a few things that went sideways. And so I didn't see everyone's hands. So Karen, since you happen to be speaking, is there more around that while you're at it?
Maybe this isn't the time to speak, but when you speak of that, I'm like, oh my gosh, the social credit system is here as ESG. And, if people aren't aware of it, they need to be aware of it. And if this is a solution to that, I think you're going to have a lot of people freaking out when they realize. And then, of course, Glenn Beck's published his book and he's all around speaking about it. So, our environment, social justice and government score, you won't be able to get anything if you don't have it. I mean, this sounds like a really good answer to getting around that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to think that it is. We were, before impact investing was a thing, we were looking to work with others at a grassroots level in what was referred to as the fourth sector. If everyone could just make a note of that, look it up afterwards, you'll find that it's not a government sector or not for profit, a for profit, but this altogether hybrid of best parts in a new sector altogether. It's still very much the Wild West, but I think you're right, Karen. When BlackRock themselves have come out and say that this is the direction that they're going to take their trillions, and 85% of global GDP is going there. On the surface, the UN Agenda 20, and 30s and so on and so forth. On the surface, it sounds real good until you really dive in and say, well, what does that mean and how does that work? And I'd like to think that we at least have some choice going forward. And that's what we're putting forth. So it's not for sale per se. It's just more of a message that there's another game to play other than Monopoly. And when you're done, you don't have to go get back in the box. So
Gives me goosebumps. Thanks.
cool.
So Dale, since we're not doing the breakout, if it's okay, we'll do final announcements and then just have the people that are not a part of the team just introduce themselves for 60 seconds.
Sounds good.
Does that sound good? Okay. So real quick, we have our Love Your Neighbor community. We meet, if you go to thegreatestcommand.com, you can register. This is every second Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Why this is powerful for you to be there is Dale has a beautiful treasure chest of all of this, these tools that he uses within the family office that people get access to. Things from in case of emergency, family love letter. If you have a business working from home, we even helped over $200,000 in grant funding be available for people that were involved in this community. We're not charging anything for this. So, even if you're not able to join, tapping in and getting the replays are really wonderful. So again, here's all of the upcoming events. The town hall is this one today. We love, one of the greatest gifts is sharing this with others. Thank you, those of you that shared and invite people to join us. Our Power Partner, we'll go into a lot more detail in the Power Partner event of how to get involved, what that looks like, the shared expense, shared reward, some of the various initiatives. is coming up in 2 weeks. And then the CMC, which is a cooperative marketing covenant, or the Get Stuff Done meeting, is March 24th. And this is a great time to look behind the curtains. These are for people that have engaged and joining us as a power partner. You get to see some of the initiatives, see some of the tools, some of the project management, and really we invite you in choosing what it is that you want to get involved with and play with. So you can come and check it out and see if it's a good fit, but those are the dates for that. And then Dale wanted me to share with you guys this Media Magic event. If you don't have a press kit, this is a powerful event for you. We're going to help you complete your expert power bio and also craft a press release that will stand out and get you noticed. We have media coming here, so you're going to be a part of a media panel and hear directly on how to pitch stuff, how to get them picked up, and what they're looking for and some of that etiquette. But really, this is not a lecture and learn. This is something where the minute you sign up, you get access to our Power Bio system. And what is a Power Bio? Power Bio is a story about you that's magnetic, that makes people want to say yes and pay attention. And so this is an amazing event. We have lots of bonuses, and right now we have 50% off until the 14th. And here's the QR code for that. And so we got to hear from some of the team in the very beginning. Those of you that are joining us for the first time, normally we get into breakout rooms. I made a little mix up here, but what we'd love to do is give you 30 to 60 seconds to share who you are and maybe something that you're looking for. Is there something that you need help with or support with? I am going to time it just because I want to make sure we honor everybody and get it done in time. But we do invite you to share anything that you want in the chat room. Any questions you have at the bottom, please put those in the Q&A if they haven't been answered yet. And I'd love to start with one of our power partners, Jeff. Do you mind doing a brief intro?
Oh, mercy. You guys start with me? Come on.
Clock ticking.
Sure. What do you want me to say again? I wasn't.
Just who you are, what you're up to in the world, and is there something that you need help with? So I know you have a project that is doing an ABC agreement with King's Counsel and Trust, so it could be something around that.
Yep. So I'm helping some of my clients and partners get some Kingdom investment money, hopefully, to launch their initiatives. I also am battling in the data analytics sector of the healthcare business, which is not the most friendly business in the world to work in, but I'm battling and putting on the armor of God to do that. And then my wife and I also are battling in the marriage industry as well, trying to help marriages and do some other things. But the business perspective is really about unraveling what's going wrong in the healthcare sector. And if anybody knows anybody that has an employer that is paying for their employees' healthcare, that wants to figure out ways through data analytics to lower their spend by 20, 30, 40%, we're happy to chat.
Beautiful. Thank you. Your website?
Plug that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
If I could just plug, what that means is we learn again who we know. Recently put a case study together with the Rosen Hotels, for anyone that's in Central Florida knows what that looks like, and was able to turn around and spin that to the Hilton family of hotels. We just might save them $190 billion a year, just as working smarter and together with who we already know. So thank you, Jeff. The great example of how someone can have an immediate impact without making a dollar more. We can certainly avoid a whole lot in the process. Thank you.
Jeff, do you mind who can go next, if you would? And ideally not who's on the team that we introduced in the beginning.
I'll just go with Karen.
Off mute. Okay. So a 60 seconds, what'd you call it? Power bio. No, my project top of mind is in crypto space, very, very similar to what you guys are doing. So that's been a really exciting connection. So we're looking to do a $20 million raise, and we're going to have our own I can say this here, like our own credit union, right? So if people put their money from the wallet they have it in now and they put it on our platform, they can make between 10 and 300% because we're going to share fees. So it's a co-op financial platform. And I believe it'll be very harmonious with the King's Counsel and Trust. And then we also have our own app, and it is gold backed with a crypto that's already spent a year with the SEC and has a letter. And it's going to be kind of shopping, million or so shopping places that you can already use it with. So again, very harmonious, and looking for that funding to finish out the development and invest in the platform and all. And then I also am working in the real estate industry with multifamily. I'm looking for off-market multifamily properties. I have a billionaire that'll come in, buy it, fix them, manage it, all that, his money on everything. And then we just get a piece for the referral.
Awesome, beautiful. Will you pick who you'd like to go next?
Oh, let's see. How about Ed?
Well, hi, thank you. So my name is Ed Rodriguez. I've known Dale since about 10 to 12 years ago. So I'm a little familiar with King's Counsel and Trust. Originally from Puerto Rico. And I'm currently focused on a project that has to do with prosperity for Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican diaspora on the mainland of the US. And so there you go. That's me in a nutshell.
Wonderful. Please remember to share how to get a hold of you in the chat, if that's okay, please.
Sure.
Beautiful. And who would you like
Opportunity
to?
with Ed's project and opportunity zones, tax-friendly alternative, anything there, please get in touch. Let's get them hooked up.
Thank you.
Perfect. Ed, will you
Appreciate
pick
it.
who gets to go next?
And I'm supposed to pick someone who's new or anyone? Anyone?
Yeah, just somebody other than who we heard from in the beginning. So,
Barry
yeah.
or Gunilla.
Gunilla. Yes, please.
Yes, Gunilla. That's my first name. It's Swedish. First of all, Shannon, thank you so much for inviting me. For somebody who has had a personal relationship with Jesus for over 30 years, this is something that is really speaking to my heart. So I'm just so thrilled to have attended today. So thank you so much for having me. But for a living, my husband and I have a creative boutique agency that we concentrate on branding. So we help companies stand out by telling the world who they are, what makes them special, and why people should do business with them. And that's it from me.
Beautiful. And who would you like to have go next?
Okay, Sherry. Okay, so there's two of them. I see here. Sherry Herndon.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, the poll popped up. Well, it's really great to be here. And I'm like absorbing like a sponge. And I met Dale in 2015 through Village Lab, a really beautiful project. And then we hadn't connected for a while. And then a couple of years ago, we reconnected. And I have also had a deep relationship with Jesus. And I am in a lot of world-changing projects around the world with people who have huge amounts of money, a lot of crypto. I hang out with a lot of young people who are like tapped in. And I have never been the person who is good with money. I'm one who said, I'm here to change the world. I'm not going to do the money thing. And that's been kind of my path. And the Kingdom Economics paper that Thomas and Dale shared with me, which I'm sure you've seen, I know it's a work in progress, but that just blew my mind because I'm also in a spiritual ministry, and I really want to see us in our freedom and sovereignty. So I should stop talking, but there's so much more to say. But I just love everything that you, King's Counsel and Trust, are doing, and it's really great to meet all of you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Who would you like to go next?
Yes, me. Larry, have you gone? Okay, Karen, have you gone?
How
Okay.
about you raise your hand if you're not on the
Oh,
team?
Sherry Sigmund. I think it's Sherry Sigmund. Yes, I think I finally got it. Sherry, you're muted and you're not on camera, but we see you.
No, you're here. You can't hide forever. Maybe we should move on to Arthur. Sherry, what do you think?
Arthur, yes, please. Welcoming you, Arthur.
You're muted, Arthur.
Okay, sorry. No, hi, hello everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm Arthur Chowra. I'm out in Africa, in Zimbabwe, just north of Rui in South Africa, and yeah, I've been involved with King's Counsel and Trust now since this is my 7th year, nice complete year since 2015. Yeah, and it's been an interesting journey, learning on many fronts, and the fellowship aspect, a great place, where my interests are meeting with my faith. I'm promoting a project, social enterprise for investment into SME enterprises in Africa, looking at a unique way of doing that, backing it up with precious metals, so yeah, very keen on what's happening on the KCT front, in terms of the gold and the silver backing, just recently added also property into that fray, looking at ways of introducing some risk mitigating assets into that mix, also having a great impact at that same time in terms of investing into social enterprise through small to medium enterprises in Africa. Yeah.
Perfect timing.
That's not 1 minute.
I have a quick
Wonderful.
comment on Arthur's behalf. You don't know this yet, Arthur, but was introduced to a group just last week that has a patent issued for in-ground assets. This is basically anything that's real assets, diamonds, precious metals, oil, water, etc., that from ground to NFT, basically a tokenization process. They've got a patent. And once I get the details on that, you and everyone else that we know that's working in that space is going to get a call. We'll stay tuned.
Oh, great.
That's big for anyone that understands how important natural resources are to a country. Really big.
Oh, awesome.
Shannon.
Beautiful. Did anybody else want to share that hasn't shared yet? Okay, we have, we're 3 minutes over. Any of the team want to do a final sharing? I'm going to close this poll, and then we just have one more where we would love your feedback. Just a quick check-in. Anybody else have something they wanted to share?
I will add one item.
Grab
Okay.
the chat. Grab the chat with the little 3 dots for anyone that's on. And because you've also registered, for whatever reason, if you may have missed some or part of this, you can feel free to come back to our recording. That'll be coming back out after the fact. That's my only closing remarks. Thank you, Thomas. I love you all. Appreciate you playing today.
All right, I was just going to add, if you are a CMC Power Partner who's opted in at level B or C, you should have received not only an invitation for Dale to set up your virtual office and access to Monday, but I've also followed that up with another reminder, and contact me if you need any assistance in setting up your virtual office. That went out, in fact, this morning. So if you didn't receive it, it means that you are a cooperative marketing covenant partner at level A, which is a 0 shared expense, shared reward model. For those who opted in at B or C, they would have received an email from me this morning, or they should have received an email from me this morning. So please look in your inbox if you think that's you. Thank you.
Any final questions before we say goodbye? Dale, may I share the YouTube channel where they can find the follow-up?
By all means, yeah.
Okay.
We've had one of those, just didn't know how to use it. And behold, sometimes those things are what we need next, or in our own back pockets or in a self-storage facility. In this case, didn't know a user login and have the credentials to turn it on.
Yeah, and what's great is when you go here, you'll be able to see, because we're working on uploading other town halls, other initiatives that we're working on, but also there's an incredible interview where Dale is interviewing the commissioner with the Office of Financial Regulation for the state of Florida. So if you're in Florida, this is really important stuff that's been going on, and that's also there on that channel. There's only 4 videos, so it'll be easy to find, and I put the link in the chat.
Listen at least 1.5 speed. Save yourself a few minutes. Oh, for real.
Oh, wonderful. Is there any other questions? Because we're here for you. All right. So with that, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks for the Power Partner event. Can we give Thomas and Dale and everybody just a big round of applause? Thank you for being this lighthouse in all that's going on in the world. Also, if you can join the Love Your Neighbor tonight at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a beautiful community. We'd love to see you. And with that, thank you guys so much and look forward to seeing you soon.
Hi, all.
Thanks. Bye all.